peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. This is the Frontline Security program of Punchline Africa Television. Thank you very much from the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa. All of you are welcome. Sorry about that. You are welcome to this show. We shall have correspondents from Nairobi, from Malindi, and from other places. Those who want to join us can look at our page, and the numbers for joining Zoom are available on that page. You can join us, you can call us on +54 795 634 863 8145. Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm Dr. Matsanga, the host of this show this morning. Viewers, as you know very well, security is very important for the people of Africa. The people of Kenya need security. Security is very crucial to Kenyan people. But if we look at the corruption cases, the cases that are taking place in Kenya, they are hurtling us towards a crisis, a state of despondency, a state of helplessness, a state where people don't know what to say, when to say, what to do. When we see huge cases, which we can call chronicles of corruption. I don't know how many people in Kenya remember what Amarora and the Kemeroro Dam, who were the suspects? Who remembers NYS2? Who were the suspects? Who remembers the NHIF? Who were the suspects? How many of you here on the panel remember? With me on the panel is Daniel Wesonga. Good morning.
Yes, very good morning, Dr. David Matsanga from the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa, and my colleague in Malindi. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Karen, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Matsanga and my fellow panelists.
And the professor, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Matsanga, Daniel, and Karen. And
retired Mbijiwe, who will be joining us in a few seconds or in a few minutes. But let's start going. And thank you very much for this. Corruption always brings military coups. Corruption disorganizes governments. Corruption belittles governments. Corruption breeds corruption. It takes money away from the people and gives to few individuals. Corruption, therefore, is a cancer. Are we safe? How many of us still remember the cases of corruption that have taken place? Huge cases. How many of these have we prostituted? How many have we prostituted as a result of the formidable, the tough guidelines that the DPP and the DCI have put in place? President Uhuru Kenyatta has come out openly to say he support any measures that can bring corruption to a 0 point. Has he done enough? Has he tried? Are there bottlenecks? Are there obstacles? Are there challenges? That is what we want to see this afternoon. Thank you. This morning, thank you, my panel. I will begin by saying, how many of you remember the cases What case can you remember? Let me start with Wesonga.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matsanga. And of course, the case that really deprived the taxpayers' coffers a lot of money is that of Kimorer and Aurora Dam scandal. And it is on record that over 21 billion shillings of taxpayers' money was embezzled. And of course, the individuals who are responsible for the haste, matter of public knowledge, everyone knows them. And regardless, we have seen very little progress when it comes to bringing them back to on justice. And they are the same individuals who are running out there talking all kind of retrogressive terms against the fight against corruption. And I was surprised in the recent past that they are the same individuals who came to rebuke and be able to label others as corrupt. So that shows you the level of courage and the level of impunity that these corrupt barons operate within this country. So I believe we shall be able to look into that and many more other scandals that my colleague will bring on board.
And that is yours. Karen, what did you remember about the corruption? What case did you remember?
It's Waluke's case that is still ongoing. That is, it has hit me so hard. And I think the fact that he's still in there is, it's an awakening that is happening in the country. It's all over, knowing that it's time for us to deal with corruption. So the one that has stood out for me is Waluke's case, Dr.
Yes, Waluke's case. Professor, what is your case?
I have got a very bad memory when I remember what has happened in our country. When we started with Anglo-Racing, we started with Goldenberg, with Kumarere, NYS, the KEMSA, the Warukes, and Dr. Masanga, something seemed not to deter these people. And many more money which disappearing CDF, governors, terrible.
Which one stands out for you?
Kimorel. we can't lose 21 billion just like that, Dr. Masanga. Surely.
So Kimorel stands out for you?
Yes.
Okay. Does the Hurtling, all these cases, money was lost? Money was lost. Has this money, one way or the other, affected the security of this country?
Yes.
Yes, Professor.
Some of the money we are seeing people given in terms of Mokotene, in terms of wheelbarrows, in terms of the tanks of the Dr. Masanga. Is that what you are telling Kenyans, that this is the kind of nation that you want to do? This handout? You know, a country which believes in handouts, it will never develop. It will make our people lazy. And the money being given as handouts is corruption money.
Thank you. Wesonga?
Yes, and of course, maybe I'll just add a perspective on that. Dr. Matsanga, we have to remember that we are anything that puts the lives of Kenyans at danger, at any risk, is deemed to be a security risk. And therefore, when you look at the Kimarer and Roar Dam project, this was a project which was meant to battle the situation of drought and hunger in the Elgeyo Marakwet region. And it also was meant to prevent the area, the residents, from the perennial landslide and other calamities. And you saw at the beginning of the year, we had a landslide there in Elgeyo Marakwet, where several lives of innocent Kenyans was lost. And that is a matter, a very important, a very pivotal matter when it comes to national security. When Kenyans lose their lives because a dam was not constructed to mitigate the dangers that were there through the natural causes like landslide, like famine, like hunger, then I think it really puts the security of that particular region in quite a jeopardy. That is my perspective on that also, Dr. Matsanga.
Yes, your perspective, Karen.
Okay, since we have the resources meant for development diverted into some other, they're being misused. There could be an easy, it's an easy way for the citizens to feel like the government has failed, and once the citizens or people begin to have this mindset of government has failed and we're not developing, it could easily trigger chaos. So that is how it affects the security. People feel like the government has failed, there's no development, we do not have, the food security is affected as well. So when the food security is affected and these other factors are affected, it could easily turn the people against the government, and it could be chaotic.
Thank you very much. The chronicles of corruption. Indeed, you agree, you have put it very rightly. If you affect the security of food security of a country, you import excess food, starve the farmers from supplying food to NSTPB, create insecurity for the country. We agree. Do we all agree on that? Yes. The insecurity of the country is affected. So therefore, corruption has slowly been hurtling Kenya towards a state of despondency. Do you agree?
Yes.
Go ahead. You have opened the. Do you agree, Daniel?
Yes, I agree, Dr. Matsanga. And of course, also one thing that we have to look at is that you see in the situation of Kimorera and Aror Dam scandal, this is 21 billion shillings going into the hands of individuals. And as Karen Joseph has said, that if this money find its way into the wrong hands, these are people who are going to incite the masses against the government agencies that have been doing corruption and have been investigating corruption. And this is something we've been seeing, people rallying on the locals to call government efforts to fight corruption as being a political witch hunt. And of course, as we head to 2022, we undoubtedly know that this money is going to find its way into the population, and this is the money that is going to do all kind of vile and evil things, to purchase people, to cause violence in various parts of the country. So therefore, for any country that really upholds the rule of law, such money cannot be allowed to circulate into the economy through the hands of few individual corrupt fellas who have been implicated in various offenses in the country. And of course, when you try to look at the scandals from the Kimwarer, Aror, and even the NCPP, where Waluke was implicated, you find that these are the very, very same individuals who have been accused in one way or another of trying to form some kind of vigilante group. And another one was accused of administering oaths to the youth in Kericho, so in Bomet rather. So I believe with this money in the hands of the corrupt politicians, they are capable of doing anything, and the government should be able to keep them in check, so that we protect the rest of the citizenry as we then head to the to the election of 2022. So that is my perspective on that, and also. We have also to look at it in terms of the food security that you've said, in that the people in certain regions which have been experiencing some drought and food shortages have never been able to address that issue. And it goes way back to the time when we had the Waluke scandal, all the way to Aror and Kimwarer Dam scandal. How do those people feel in the Kerio Valley region? How do they feel about the government? From their perspective, they'll be of the notion that the government has deserted them, and that really puts the region in a very precarious condition. putting in mind also that this is a region that has been having a rampant cattle rustling menace for quite some years, Dr. Matsanga.
So, in a nutshell, you are in agreement that corruption can hurtle a nation to a crisis?
Yes, sure, absolutely, Dr. Matsanga.
Yes, okay. Miriam, your take on corruption as a factor that hurtles nations to a crisis, the dangers of corruption, the money being eaten by people, the failure to prosecute. Can this corruptly end us in a state of despondence?
Absolutely, and it is interesting, Doctor, that you're having this conversation today in the morning. When I was coming to work, I was listening to some radio, a morning show there. It's a very popular, morning show there, and people were giving their views, Kenyans, on, what now we see as a stalemate. Our counties are not able to operate because of the revenue allocation stalemate that we have at the Senate. So you could see Kenyans are quite divided. And some lady called there and said, now the hospitals will be closed in the counties. So what is President Uhuru Kenyatta has come out to address this matter. So according to them, this is all about President Uhuru Kenyatta and his failure to address that matter. And so the presenter there told her that this has nothing to do with President Uhuru Kenyatta. This has everything to do with the Senate, who have not been able to agree there, the senators, on how to agree on the allocation formula there for the county monies there. So it just went on. So you can see, when people believe, the larger population, they believe that the buck stops with the president. And I think also President Uhuru Kenyatta, to some extent, understands that. And that's why he really is out there in the forefront in the fight against corruption. So when things fail, when you see all these, like right now, she even alluded to the corruption at KEMSA, the scandal that is now being investigated. So they were just, no, this is President Uhuru Kenyatta. This is President Uhuru Kenyatta. For somebody who does not have the facts, who feels they've finished school, they don't have money, they don't have a job, they're going they hear the monies are being taken from even the youth kitties there, from money that is supposed to be going to the health care there. And now we see the education sector there. And I think we looked at that cartoon the other day. They were joking about now the cartels have left the Ministry of Health, they're headed to the Ministry of Education. And all this news that you're reading and you're seeing, it comes to a point where they feel, so now what? This government seems to be failing in the war against corruption. For the many who do not understand, the facts that surround, a lot of these scandals there, and who are waiting for justice, because the wheels on justice sometimes seem to roll quite, slow when it comes to even prosecuting some of these cases. So you find that when you see a news item, they say we're used to that. They'll go arrest these people and nothing will happen to them. So it comes to a point where they feel that when the citizens begin to feel they're a bit helpless, and what can be done? The government is not going to do anything about it. So I think for the war of corruption to succeed, then all the justice system has to work together, but also so that it's some of these cases are able to be prosecuted and to be addressed properly. And also I think a lot of these matters, this corruption, like say the KEMSA, the way President Uhuru Kenyatta came out and spoke very strongly about it, and gave it 21 days for the people who are investigating this to wrap up, because he understood the high interest that Kenyans have on this. I think also that goes a long way in bringing assurance to Kenyans that indeed the president means business when it comes to the fight against corruption. But also we have to see the wheels of justice move at a pace that Kenyans can see the results. Kenyans can see people being taken to jail, like we say, Waluke and all that. So I think it's everybody has to work in tandem. But if that fails, that absolutely, especially the young people in this country, will go into a state of despondency. And I think that is very dangerous for any country.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I was looking for something. You touched on a number of several items. President Uhuru Kenyatta gave 21 days for people to find out who took the money, what happened in KEMSA. Those 21 days elapsed yesterday. We are now waiting for a report to be delivered to us and to all of us, to the country, and let's see how the report comes. and you have touched on key issues. The lady on a radio asking, everything seemed to be hurtling towards
the President
Uhuru Kenyatta. Everybody says it is President Uhuru Kenyatta. Nobody mentions the thieves. Nobody. So I want to put this question to you and all of us on this panel. Are we also part of the problem of theft? As Kenyans, including Karanja from Nanyuki, I know none of us has ever stolen. And are we part of the problem? Because I'm looking at how the answers will come. There is something that I want to trigger there. I want to trigger something. Professor, go have a go at it. Then Karanja, then Karen, then Daniel, and the media.
Yes, Dr. Masanga. That this is a problem of the sad, and it takes two people to tango. What I'm trying to say that we see corruption with our own eyes every other day. What do? Do we report? We have reached into a point that it is normal, and sometimes I've wondered, why don't we say that let us all be corrupt? If everybody, like now, as I was listening to the one of the Jews ministers saying that COVID must get everybody else, and then people will be able to cope up. What I want to say that we are the mess, Dr. Masanga. We have lost hope, and every Kenyan these days is looking an opportunity on how to get a kill. And that's why Miriam has said the buck stops at the president. But the president, with his executive powers, we are seeing him arresting people. The powers to arrest is with the police. He arrests people, they are charged in court, and no action is taken. So when it comes to fighting corruption in this country, Dr. Masanga, someone goes to court and is given a bond and he walks free, and he uses the same money to mess up with the case. So to be very straight, you have to answer is that people must hate corruption as most of us do for us to fight this corruption. There is nothing the president can do. We have to help the president to fight this kind of corruption. And this is where the judiciary comes in. Because we are talking about the despondency, Dr. Masanga. When the people lose hope, they will always say nothing will be done. In fact, that's how you see someone being arrested, stolen a lot of money, charged in the court, and you will hear Kenyans saying nothing is going to be done. That is that law that we have come. So what we need to be done, the judiciary should help and be very straightforward, like my magistrate Juma. Send some of these people to jail. I have liked with what anti-corruption is doing. He is telling some, and before 2022, in fact, quite a number of the governors will be in. It is not only to be arrested, but to be charged and, if found culpable, to be sent to commit. So the buck stops at us, not at the president. That's what I need to be demystified. And we must be able to come out and name and shame those people who are involved in their corrupt deeds. That's what I have to say, Dr. Masanga, on that.
You have your points. This is fantastic. You've come in nicely. You've mentioned, just as like Miriam did, the question us. You see, I am looking at us. What is, Miriam brought in something, and you brought in us. What is our role? Are we part of the problem? When will the society wake up? Why did the corruption between 2002 and 2006 collapse? Why? Why were people arresting people and dumping them at the police station. Citizens of Kenya coming to you to say, no, I am not buying this. How many of us in this country can say, sorry, the price is too high, go and give it to your children?
Guys, you're talking now.
I am looking for that. You see where I'm going, Karen, as you come in. Those are the type of things I'm looking for. I want, where you say the bus, you are saying the bus is paying how much? 200. So you climb it. You drive it and then pay yourself. I'll stay here. Have we, as a state, educated people enough to know about corruption? Can the people reject matatu, which is overloaded? How many of us refuse when the police stops you? He said, wewe zungumiza sana, nataka uzungumize kabisa. Unasema tazungumiza na mimi, my voice has ended here. Take me where you want to get me. How many of you? How many of us in Kenya do this? Because that is one way, effective way to fight corruption.
Oh, yes.
Karen, I've now opened some valves there. Karen?
Yes, you have. I was you asking, can people reject corruption? And I agree with you. One of the ways of fighting corruption is by not playing along with this song. You know, you are asking for more, I cannot do that. And I agree totally with that. And talking of this other question that you asked earlier on, is everyone part of corruption? It's very evident that everyone is part of corruption, because recently we've had cases of shifting corruption from the offices to our homes. You know, when we involve our children, it's very clear that everyone is involved in this. And that's why, apart from us rejecting, fighting, apart from us knowing how to refuse to play along with corruption offers and all of that, we need to learn to work even from our homes. We need to teach our children that this is not the way to go. Otherwise, I agree, it's everywhere. Corruption is everywhere, Dr. Matsanga.
Thank you very much. Everybody is looking for a kill. That's what the professor said, and they also agree, and Miriam said it. We are saying the buck stops with the president. What about us?
It's us.
What about us? How many of us attend rallies in Kitengela because we have been given 150 seats? Why don't you refuse the money and say, I will give you my vote without coming to your rally to die of COVID-19? How many of us have no water in the estate? And Nairobi City Council is supposed to supply water. And then it comes with an empty truck. It says, I can bring the water, but before I bring the water, I need something.
Oh no, doctor, they bring and then you buy the water from them. Very expensive and jerry cans.
So, yes. So how many of us say, no, we are arresting you and busting the tires of the tank? Then the police will come to ask us why. You say you are selling the water which is supposed to be supplied to us. How many of us drive a car without a license? And when the police stop you, you tell him, let me talk to you later. Wacha tuzungumize on the side. How many of you talk direct when I am hearing or Miriam is hearing? These are the topics we want to engage, and people will learn slowly. When they pick our clips, they will start running, I'm telling you. How many of them? Because all the matatu drivers or taxis going to Eldoret, the North Rift, the what, you find them talking to the police aside. Why don't they talk near the customers, the passengers?
Yeah.
Why? How many passengers can get out of the car and they say, my friend, return that money and we are ready to lose this going where we are going. We want another taxi, arrest that driver. Even the police will say, what type of human beings have done these days? That policeman will go and tell another policeman that this route of Naivasha, be careful. Iko wajuaji. Iko wajuaji. And that is one way of fighting corruption. But we find ourselves, we're in the mix of it. We're in the mix of it. I've told you this morning, Bijiwe wants to, Major Bijiwe wants to come in some, ring him, he wants the PIN numbers. Call him. I've told you this morning, there are 80 groups operating in Kenya. How many of you have reported an NGO because it did not tell you how to wash hands? How to clean your road? How to put that rubbish in the bin? How to clean your toilets, latrines? How to slash the sides of the road? You know, there are NGOs that have worked to slash the sides of the road. And I believe Malindi has several of them. They do some work on Wednesday. We used to have a Wednesday as a Harambe Day. I don't know in Kenya whether we still have that road, that day, when between 7 o'clock to 12 noon, you don't go anywhere until you have cleaned your place where you live. So
they do it, but not sustainable. Just not be sustainable.
It is done for glory and rewards. When you see Senator Sonko dressed up in a trucker suit with a shovel and a spade, he wants cameras to take him that the senator is working or the governor is working. But does he do it to kill corruption so that nobody takes money from the residents? No. Okay. Karanja.
Yes.
Before I come to Colombo.
Yeah.
Karanja, in a nutshell,
Yeah.
the same question
Yes.
which I had asked. And the question is, are we part of the problem?
Definitely, yes. Yeah, no, I found that when Tonga saying something of the Morel and the Ronka, when this money, the corruption process are taken and they are taken to this corrupt individual, they use that money so that the government of the day looks like this is not performing. The same people who paid the money that was sent to construct dams are the same very people who go there with water tanks in roaring to give water to those people. Therefore, these people have a mentality that the government of the day is not caring enough, the government of the day is not working for us. These individuals who are giving us water are the people who we should trust with our vote. That is how we end up re-electing corrupt individuals with help of power. And that is the question of whether we are the part of the problem. Yes, we are, because we are not loud enough. We have this mentality that in this country, you must be corrupt to become successful. You must be corrupt to be rich. That is why you find the corruption begins at school, where people have these examination leakages, especially at the national examination, where people steal the examination. People have great they make some rules that are crazy to make sure that the war on corruption is not the war. That is why they impose very the right cost, because they know they are ways, they know how they came to those positions. Therefore, we must have a country have a campaign that is making sure that people in schools, we started in schools where students will be taught the vices of corruption, the virtues of being honest, so that at the end of the day, we have crisis, we have people who will say no to corruption, and then the parents should start at the home, they should start to give value in their kids and to make it hard, to make it in their mind that corruption is bad, corruption is not a good way. But in this country, you find even people joking that in order to get good money, you must have a deal. This thing people call deal, this is corruption. This is where corruption is. Therefore, we must start taking the conversation and start instilling good values in our society.
Okay,
therefore, we are part of the problem.
Yes.
Unless we start saying no to corruption, the bank does not start with the president. The president has a role to control the machinery, and then we have independent institutions like the DPI that work independent. Therefore, we should blame all of us as Kenya for this problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Karanja. Before Wesonga, I know you are itching to come in, but let me read you 1 Chronicle chapter 2. Chronicle chapter 2. And then at the end of it, tell us whom you think, you suspect is the person behind it. The former governor and the current governor of a certain city, Nairobi, and a Nairobi businessman have been involved in frustrating development of a tower in Westlands on plot number, and get the pen, LR number 209/73/1, another plot number LR number 209/73/6, another plot number 209/74/3, another plot number LR N 209/74/4, and lastly, a plot number LR 209/74/6. A certain businessman or business people frustrated the company. The businessman was frustrated from building a very prominent tower in the Westlands. The governors, past and the present, wanted payment in billions. Not to the governors, but to somebody. Before those Chinese could build one of the best towers in the Westlands. The former governor needed 200 million. And the current one, I don't know. So, the person is there with Songa. The plot numbers are there. The evidence is there. Chronicle number 2. Let's go. I told you I will pay the people slowly.
Yes.
Then they vomit this money.
Yes.
Onyari, are we working even the plot numbers and the rest? They are here. If you say you don't know We shall print them for you. That's how we have become now, very sophisticated. And if you say you did not ask this investor to pay you the money, and you did not make a telephone call to that governor to frustrate the investor, we shall bring the telephone call. Now let's go.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matsanga, for bringing that story. And of course, it lays bare the underbelly of kind of corruption that we have in the city. And of course, as Kenyans, we should be grateful that President Uhuru Kenyatta brought in the Nairobi Metropolitan Service in earnest, and it has worked to redeem back the lost glory of our city. And the same individual, the Nairobi governor, the current one, has been in court early this week for charges where he has been charged rather in soliciting a bribe of up to 10 million from an IT company which was mandated to offer payment services to the city. And that is something shameful coming from our capital city, and I believe we should condemn it in no uncertain terms for those ones who are involved in such unscrupulous deals. Now, going back to the question you asked about who does the backstop when it comes to the fight against corruption. And from my research, how the economies of the Middle East, how the economies of Asia, how the economies of Europe were able to do away with the ghost of corruption, is that they realize that corruption can never be fought when the society has a moral vacuum. If you have a people who do not have any morality standings, who do not believe in ethical ethics in their society, then it will be difficult to fight to root out corruption. The government can go ahead and hang an entire cabinet, hang the top echelon of the system, write 1,000 books about corruption, but so long as the common man, the basic family unit, does not uphold the moral standards that are supposed to set a precondition for the war against corruption, then we cannot win the fight against this malady. And it was discovered in China and other countries that believe in Buddhism and Confucian principles. It was discovered that whenever children were taken to the Buddhist monks, and they were nurtured for the first 12 years of their life, 15 years of their lives, and then they were led into the society. They realized that the children carried with them these principles about integrity, about respect, about family cohesion, and they could not be manipulated into doing things that are against whatever teaching that they received at the Buddhist temples. So that is the same thing that we should do back here in Kenya. We have to inculcate the moral standards into our children, which will be able to carry them out there and be able to make them responsible citizens when it comes to our country's unity, when it comes to the war against corruption. So it is something that we have to inculcate into the future of our society before we can be able to talk about the war on corruption. But otherwise, speaking the prevailing situation as it is right now, I think as people we've been measured and we've been found to be lacking in our own integrity, in our own morals, in our own ethics. We do not meet up to the expectations of the laws that we set, of what the government is doing, and therefore the fight against corruption will always remain elusive as long as we do not, as a people, start at our own basic level to embrace high moral standards. And Dr. Matsanga talked about...
Just hold it for the next.
Yes.
Just hold it. You have got your time. You have used your time very effectively. Yes. And I want you to learn to use your time to knock points. And one of the things that I want us to bring, you have brought out very good points. And the land title, I wanted you to come to it. Can you name that tower?
Yes, of course it's Nairobi, and we've been having the same individual pretending to be fighting land cartels, but now you see the chickens are coming home to roast, and it really is depicting a picture.
It shot the tower near Kempinski.
Yes.
That is what we want in the Chronicles. Not a bit about the bush. It has 6 land titles, which I've read for you here. The former governor, the current, and another one. They work in proxy. You see the Brexit war of East Africa yesterday, you missed it. This one is a proxy. There is a man there. He doesn't come there himself. That's why you will never catch him. It is only those people who take the money who are caught. But never him. But when he means to frustrate you, you will never get the contract. Listen to this story. Now, this is for Mzee, a professor. A company in gold mining in the Rift Valley County, one of the Rift Valley counties, has been frustrated and is being frustrated. It has reported investigatively to us by a governor, a senator, and an MCA, so that a proxy Chinese company can get the mining rights, because the chief executive officer of the company refused to give 2 billion shillings campaign cash in 2017. Local media is filled with fake stories about this farm, not to mention the blackmail of directors and the incitement of the holders of land title LR. Mzee endelea namna hivi, LR number 1185 and 1184. People have gone there to disrupt the mining of this man who refused to pay the bribe. The aim for the proxy company of frustration is for the proxy company to get the mining rights. Your guess is like my guess. Prof, what is the puzzle behind it? You have blocked. Unmute.
What we need to say, Dr. Masanga, the investors in this country have been frustrated. And I have had a privilege of interacting with some of the diplomats and the people from outside. They tell me that the cost of investment in your country is expensive, particularly in the period of 2013 and up to now. And I was wondering why. They say there's an office, very high office in this country, where you have to carry a briefcase to give money upfront before you are given a tender, or before you are given work to do. So, Dr. Masanga, what I need to say in this, with this kind of information, the investigative agencies should move. This is enough evidence. Dr. Masanga, time for us to keep on talking is all gone. This is enough evidence at the face value, which can bring someone even from the House of the Lords. So,
Are we hurtling to despondence? Professor, you are hitting the point home.
Yes, I'm telling you, Dr. Masanga, this is how I look at it.
Yes.
How much money could have the government gotten out of these mining rights?
Plenty
of money. So the government has lost taxes, has lost revenue in terms of tax collection. So it means, where will the government get money to offer services to the people of Kenya? Two, how much money could have circulated in the economy if that mining was done that? How much money could have the youth who could have gotten the opportunity to work? So, Dr. Masanga, when the country is not open to investment, it means the country loses, and it leads us to despondency. People lose hope. That's why they start pointing the finger at the president. When the four fingers are pointing at us, we are supposed to demand for action to be taken, Dr. Masanga. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing it out. We have got enough circumstantial evidence. Is enough to start from, because the government has lost. You are right. Taxation is gone. We can't get it from. But we want to assure the management of this mining that your complaint, you brought it to the right people. We have delivered it to EACC. So with the telephone, yes, with the telephone transcripts of how the man kept on calling the managing director. Let's move on, Miriam. It is very interesting. But your guess is like my guess.
Mm-hmm. Doctor, it is interesting and sad at the same time.
Yeah, your case is like my case. With the same, we think alike on that. We know who the owner is of the dogs. Okay, Miriam. Mm-hmm. We are building a very serious scenario. That case in the mining, we have handed it over to EACC. Let them look into it. Let them have all the telephone transcripts. Bring out, and one of these cases is going to catch up someone. Miriam, go ahead.
All right. Yes, Doctor. You said that it's interesting, but also I find it's very sad because these people don't understand when we, it's when investors from outside who have a potential to come in and start something in this company that all of us will benefit. The government will benefit in terms of tax. The people, the population in this country will benefit in terms of employment opportunities. So these few characters, they fail to see the bigger picture. And so corruption, of course, has been one of the key things, as Doctor, you've said there now, this case of this company. And Professor, you've mentioned there, a certain investor who wanted to come invest in the country said the cost of investing in Kenya is very expensive, and not because of anything else, because the government, I think, has tried making things very easy with the introduction of Huduma Center and all that. It tried to simplify the ease of doing business and attract more people to come in. But now the backhandedness and the kickbacks that come with that, and a lot of it from government officials, I think it's really costing this country, a lot. And we know Kenya, as we speak right now, we don't sit very well when it comes to transparency, index on corruption, even in the continent itself. And so that also hurts investor confidence. So in the long run, it's not doing us any justice. It's hurting us as a people. It's hurting us as an economy. But something else, Doctor, that I think the rest of the panelists talked about earlier. Are we part of the problem? Indeed, we are part of the problem because we've made corruption as a part of us. We have, I think, been complacent when it comes to corruption, and we have accepted that corruption is a way of life, and that is how we are, and that is how we carry out our business. And this shouldn't be the case. So I think that Karanja there mentioned, gave examples of how even coming from our own homes and how even parents will go ahead and support their children in cheating, buying out, exams. You've seen that play out there in the past. And when I think the CS Matiang'i was brought into the Ministry of Education, he tried, straightening that, but, the cartels and all that. But it's just sad because the parents, we are the ones who are encouraging these bad manners, and it starts in our homes. I think we need to have a bit of some civic education, and so that Kenyans are able to understand. As much as we want to sit here and and make noise about these corruption cases, the high-profile corruption cases. But we are also part of the problem, and I think we have to realize that. We see when corruption happens, there's the one that gives and there's the one that takes. Even when it comes to corruption on our roads, corruption in the public offices and all that, because they know that Kenyans will be willing to give. That's why it has continued to prosper. If we refused and we said, I will not give you money for you to process my passport, or for you to process my ID or any other service that I'm seeking to get from a public office, then they will know Kenyans means business and Kenyans are not accepting of this bad behavior, and then perhaps that will stop. But Kenyans, we have encouraged these bad manners. We have made it become very successful in this country, and now we're here, complaining. So I think we also are a part of the problem, and we should change our mindset. President Uhuru Kenyatta can do, just as much. The courts can do just as much. But also Kenyans, we have to realize we have a bigger role to play and a bigger contribution to play should we really be successful in the fight against corruption. So, Doctor, to answer your question there, Kenyans have become very complacent, and we have accepted that corruption is a way of life. And how do we change that?
Yes, we are summarizing this very nicely. Karanja. Yeah. Miriam has narrowed it down to us.
Yeah.
You add 1 or 2 points. What do you think? You have already said we are part of the problem.
Yeah.
The professors said we know where the problem is.
Yeah.
And there is enough evidence that time has come for people to take action. Yeah. Karen has said we even cheat in exams.
Yeah.
We tell students what to do. The culture seems to be to fight corruption. We need all of us to be involved, not only the government. The consensus is coming up, not only the president, but everybody to be involved. What is your view?
Thank you very much. Let me say this. First of all, the role of the government of the day-to-day, the government should make sure that those people who are culpable for corruption proceedings, people who have been under the enough evidence that they are involved in corruption, they should be given a punishment, so that the public and other potential corrupt leaders and other corrupt individuals will have a lesson to learn. I think that we should make corruption very painful, and those people found culpable in corruption, apart from being denied access to public offices, apart from denied visas to travel across, they should have a life imprisonment. They should also go through a kind of a corporal punishment in a public place so that people will fear corruption. And on matter of bandits, I think we as the people of this republic, we should start treating the positive. We should start having a
all right.
A mindset that we've been hold on corruption, where we start praising those leaders who are doing good, and we start diminishing and shaming those people who are there, who have formed a corruption kind of a dynasty, a dynastic corruption individuals who are there to make this country not run the way it's supposed to be. Therefore, we should start by praising those leaders who have set a good example, who have performed exemplary, and they should set an example. And to those who are corrupt, they should not even. We should have a constitutional reform that will ensure that anybody who has been mentioned or who is a potential for corrupt individual, they are denied. They don't qualify to buy for public offices, because when they go there, that is where they have the complete connection that it has, like the one in the council, that makes it hard to fight corruption. We should have a reform that corruption in this country should be made aware of the fact by making sure the leaders of the day and the government of the day make sure that these people are punished enough. And we as the people, we should cultivate a culture of honesty, a culture kind of understanding from our home coming all the way to the national level. Because if we continue like this country will never develop. This country for the last 50 years that since we got independent, we are still, the government is trying, but we are not where we are supposed to be. This is not where the vision of our fathers wanted this country to be. But this culture, and this culture of having that we must be a politician, we must go to a public office to be used. I think even these politicians, we should have a kind of they should not be given money, especially the members of parliament. They should just go there and register. This thing of giving them a CPF and other things, because that is where this corruption proceedings end up to. We should have individuals, and we should train Kenyans to vote wisely, to vote leaders of integrity, so that they will be able to fight this corruption. But we can't have a corrupt leader fighting corruption. It is impossible. That's what we do, is make sure that corruption drives, we create a conducive environment for his proxies and for his party to continue milking his country dry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Karanja. Hold your points there. So in a nutshell, we are getting closer to making a conclusion. But we have been joined by none other than security risk analyst, the man strategist himself, a security expert. How many words can I use? Major, retired Mbijue. You have been missing in action, my brother.
I know, but
I haven't asked any question yet. Our question, which is on the blackboard, which is there right now, is corruption hurtling Kenya to despondency, to a state of despondency? Is corruption taking us to a state where there is a conflict? We're about to fight, and the fighting is coming as a result of this type of means. Do you agree with us? Give your remarks, opening remarks and excuses as to why you are missing on this beautiful panel for a long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dr. Matanga and the entire crew. Greetings to my sisters. I can see Karen is on board. I can see Dr. Onyari, Sean Wesonga, and of course our beautiful host in the studio. All of you guys, I have missed you. Dr. Matanga, I'm on safari abroad, or rather I'm planning to travel, so I've been busy sorting my traveling.
How many years will you be out?
I'll be gone for a full year now. This September until next year, August. That's when I finish my master's program. But Zoom is available everywhere, so I'll be a regular guest.
Corresponding for us from there.
Yes, I'll be. In fact, you'll be sending me to Gaza. You can send me to where? To Golan Heights, and I'll be reporting live for Punchline Africa TV from Tel Aviv. But apart from that, I agree with you, or rather, let me say my take on the question on the board today is that yes, indeed, corruption is causing a despondency in the country. If you look at most of the people that are opposed to President Kenyatta today, even in his own backyard, it's not because they don't like President Kenyatta. Even in my backyard, Meru, where President Kenyatta has enjoyed the largest support. Are you there?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. In my backyard, where President Kenyatta has enjoyed support, for generations, from his own father through President Kibaki and now his presidency, there's a lot of despondency and a lot of people that want to like William Samoei Ruto from Uhuru Kenyatta's backyard are all doing this because of despondency. They are heartbroken because of corruption. And I'll tell you, after the COVID-19 expose that showed that people had stolen money, that even sunk the remaining part of the hearts of the people that supported this government. And so truly, if I would give a honest advice to the government, I would ask them to do something monumental that will restore the confidence of Kenyans. When the court jailed that MP, is he still MP or former MP? Well, on his way to be former MP Waluke.
Yeah, he's still in jail.
Yes, when they jailed him for, is it 67?
When you call him MP, call him that thief.
Yeah, I said that thief, that former,
Yes.
that former MP. When they
Yes.
jailed him for 67 years, that was a powerful statement. What President Kenyatta needs to do is get a few people that can truly be convicted and then send that out as a clear message even to his supporters that, look, guys, you see, now the problem here also is people need to understand that the president's hands and his government's hands are mostly tied by the law, because we instituted a constitution for ourselves that does not allow our president to act like Sebo. If it was in Uganda or South Sudan or Rwanda, the president can decide to jail you himself. But here we have a strict constitution that requires we follow the rule of law. So we can't just jail someone. So this is the problem. However, we must find a proper correlation between the fight for corruption and the adherence or observing the rule of law. We cannot observe the rule of law to the extent that we allow corruption to take over our society, and we cannot also fight corruption to the extent of violating human rights, because if we set a precedent, then we don't know when a rogue leader comes and says, okay, someone did it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna throw people in jail. So yes, the corruption that is so rampant right now is causing a despondency in the nation.
Thank you very much, Major Retired Bijiwe. You have brought spice. Now we want to ask you a hard question. Who owns Kemsa warehouse? Okay, before you go, let me give you a clue, so that at the end of this, you say who owns it. Very interesting subject today. Who owns Kemsa warehouse? And the answer, you get it A from here. Oh my God. Oh my God. In Uganda, they say Katonda wangu.
Mungu wangu.
Yes. Here are the notes. Why were there purpose of noise over Kemsa? Kindly, the owner of land number LR number 9042/176 worth 3 billion shillings, which was given to an Indian company by using a close ally of a certain high individual in Kemsa. The contact of that proxy is doing the same thing, and they did the same thing in Mumias Sugar Works. And you know the troubles of Mumias. The same person rented, gave the land. Have you ever heard, as a security expert, that people were trying to dig a hole like the Mexican man or the couple to run away with the drugs? Who owns the Kemsa warehouse where all our drugs, masks and everything is kept? That big land there. That's the crew now. And I've given you pointers. Come out.
I will not name the.
You are going to Israel, which does not fear.
I will not name the individual because this is gonna cause a lot of flares, but I will also further complicate this by giving you more clues. Why was the Kenya Meat Commission militarized? Whose cows were coming in their hundreds to the Kenya Meat Commission? Now I'm giving you that because that will provide you the clue to who owns the warehouse.
Okay, who has been dealing with cows in Capital Triumph?
Thank you.
Which are loaded. Who is the manager who allows the cows to be loaded in Eldoret? Eldoret train station to this Dagoretti corner. Who for slaughtering? Why is the meat in Kenya more and less expensive when the meat in London is the most expensive meat? Why?
So that provides the clue to who owns the warehouse. Remember here we were trying to answer the question, who owns the warehouse? Who owns that land that's subleased to an Indian? That is the clue, sir.
Oh. Anybody on the panel to break the clue? Wesonga, have a trial.
Doctor, you just, the puzzle is just becoming more puzzling. Can you help us out here?
Dr. Masanga.
We have an expert here. There is nobody here who, you see, Prof, I have been telling you, there are people here who fear even to mention people's names. They go to the toilet. Have you ever had somebody in a toilet while he's taking short call? He's talking on himself. He's mentioning the name of the person he's here. Now I've got the whole panel, and Miriam says the puzzles are becoming too more puzzling.
It's like a maze.
Now, it is not my problem, but everybody fears to mention his name.
Yes, and maybe Dr. Masanga, you started by mentioning KEMSA, and then Major Richard Bijiwe went ahead to bring the point closer home by mentioning about the militarization of Kenya Meat Commission. And of course, the record out there shows that one of the biggest farms that wanted to supply cattle to Kenya Meat Commission is Koilel Farm. And for the public record, Koilel Farm is owned by the Deputy President of this Republic. So perhaps now, from my end, I'll be able to bring and unwind the tangle in that puzzle and give it quite a.
I was asking about the chemistry. You are answering. Bijiwe is an expert who knows more about the cows in Meru, how they breed. Me, I don't know. Me, I'm not a cow herder.
Yes, now, Dr.
Masanga. Professor is not a cow herder, but the professor is a man who tells the truth. If you people are fearing to say who owns that, who went to the 2 towers, we have 3 towers near Kempinski. Who frustrated the building of those towers? Who is the owner of the towers?
By the way, before I tell you who the owner, is, you should know. You should know, Dr. Matanga, that the building of those 2 towers caused a problem and a downgrading of the quality of security at Kempinski Hotel. So in future, President Obama or Trump or future American president cannot sleep in Kempinski because they'll never put their president in a hotel that has a tower that is higher than the hotel, lest a shooting could happen. So the calculation of building of the tower downgraded the quality and the security standard of Kempinski. That is for your information, by the way. That's why you bring experts here, because experts have information that is not available in the public domain. So are we still answering the question, who owns the warehouse?
No, we have moved on.
Yes. We are
leaving the clue for Medium to summarize.
I just wanted
to summarize it for us. Yes, Wesonga, you have anything else? Let me go to Professor. Professor always hit the nail on the head. We are trying to help the government to fight corruption.
Yes.
Are we corrupt ourselves, Wesonga?
I think we are, in essence, we are corrupt, Dr. Matsanga, because we see these things.
Why
and
do we Why do we eat the meat? How many of you eat meat which is stolen? Muongee wa Kenya. Why do you eat meat?
Ask the chaplain. I saw him eating meat the other day. Ask the chaplain.
I have seen you eating meat which is stolen. The cows are stolen from Capedo. They bring them to Sagrit. Why don't you strike and refuse eating them? Why is the meat so cheap in Kenya? And it's very expensive. Even in Argentina, the meat, where the meat comes from, is more expensive than in Kenya. Where are these cows that you get every day, which you hammer every day? Why don't you refuse eating the cows which are stolen? Since you want to talk kwa easy, we are all thieves. Because eating the cow in Sagri, which has been stolen and a Turkana man has been killed, you have eaten a thief, you have eaten the body of the Turkana man. Yeah.
But Dr. Kenyans are innocent. Sometimes you don't even know this meat.
No.
It's been stolen.
Not only the Kenyans, even we people.
Yes.
Matsanga napenda nyama sana.
Sana
I am
kwanza
also a thief.
Matsanga.
I've eaten this meat. With this man, he has called me several times to eat the meat there. Kumbe, we are eating stolen meat.
Kwanza wewe daktari, you've eaten a lot of it.
Unasema kwanza mimi.
Unapenda nyama, umekula.
Nakula.
I met him in Meru at a nyama choma joint.
Mijiwe, we are trying to help the government, to help them. How do we conquer corrupt?
Dr. Masanga, let me come in.
Yeah, you have come in.
I did say.
Mijiwe, who is going to Israel?
I did say. I did say that when you are pointing a finger at someone,
yes,
both fingers are pointing at you.
Yes.
So when we are pointing corruption to a particular office, which my fellow panelists are refusing to name, how are we going to fight corruption with you? How are we going to fight corruption? You are informed. You are saying, and the Wesonga was almost going there, but it was going round. It is the office of the deputy president. Yes. Why are you not saying that?
Okay. It is the mother of all battles.
How we want to serve this country?
Yes, because
I have said the cost of doing business in this country is very high. Why? People have to carry a briefcase to someone's office. And that is the office you are talking about.
Yes, and Professor Jared Donyari, and there is also one key thing that we should understand here, and I think our investigative agencies should look into it. The land in question in Taita Taveta, where these cattle, the herd of cattle that are being kept there by the deputy president, these are land that is perceived to have...
Hold. I'm the moderator here. Hold. We want to go slowly.
Yes.
We are still on the meeting Cappadoc trial.
Oh, okay.
Is there still 15 Cappadoc trial?
Dr. Masanga, I did say yesterday, and I'm repeating again. If you can supply meat to Kenya Commission and you are paid more than 200 million, which farm in this country in Bijiwe you can have cows, you supply and you get 200 million, unless you are a cattle rustler.
Yes.
Unless you are.
True. I agree with you.
Unless you are a cattle rustler.
Yes, you have to be a cattle rustler to get that number of cattle. I agree with you.
No, you are saying on this show, you are saying Kamama is a cattle rustler.
Yes.
Now, Bijiwe, you know where we are heading.
I know. Let's keep going.
Let's head there. Why are you fearing? You are going to be will you fear Ebola? He's Ebola.
Okay, Sean, endelea with your point.
Yes, whatever Professor Jared Donyari is talking about, President Uhuru Kenyatta, I saw a clip yesterday where he says He has land, and not just a small parcel of land, but himself, he has never supplied any produce or any animals to any government institution or any company worth 200 million as a farmer. So it really beats logic that a single farmer can be able to supply something worth 200 million. And of course, we smell a lot of corruption in it, and that is what it is, and we ought to call it as so.
What will happen henceforth is with KDF taking off. Sorry?
A major retired, wait. You are going to be our and a summarizer. I want to ask you one question, Miriam. When these animals come from Eldoret railway station, do they have permits? Who issues the permits? Who is the general manager of the train in Eldoret? Who allows stolen cows to be loaded? Today we are chasing corruption. Unaona Mbiju anaanza kusmile. We are tracing corruption here. And the professor, let's be honest, who is the general manager of Kenya Railways, who allows the cows that have been stolen, where people have killed the people in Kapedo at night and buried them in the bushes of Kapedo and bring the cows down to where you are? Who is the owner? Tell us.
I think Wetonga and the professor, everyone is forthright here that indeed why Kenya Defence Forces took over the reins of controls at the Kenya Meat Commission is first, of course, to bring sanity and proper management of that state corporation, which has always made a profit. It's like Kenya Power. It's always making, not a profit, a loss. It's always making a loss. Even though the same institution is paying someone a whooping 200 million for this. Who on earth, like the professor asked, who on earth in this country in their farm can afford cattle that is up to 200 million of profit? That's absurd. This can only be stolen cows. And these cows are the ones that rustlers have been stealing in Kapedo, in the areas of Pokot and Marakwet, and sometimes in Samburu and Turkana, and they all find their way to the same cartels. Personally, in our family, we are victims of these cartels because my uncle, John Bijiwe, suffered, humiliation, which the court later cleared him for being accused of collaborating with cattle rustlers, even though he had just been posted to that station in the Rift Valley. And just recently, the court reinstated him. We know what cattle rustling is in the Bijiwe family because they are vicious. They can kill, they can hurt, they don't forgive anyone. They kill people and they supply to Kenya Meat Commission and they ship that meat to Arab and European countries, and see what we have now. Kenya Defence Forces is in control, my friends, and you can be sure there's no farm that will provide cattle that is 200 million shillings worth of supply. Wait and see. And that's when cattle rustling will no longer be lucrative in this country.
And let me tell you how you can be able to, you are a security person.
I am now beginning to. Now you are coming. Because I was on a different mood, you brought in this cattle thing. Now you are coming nicely. Not me, it is you, not me. Have you heard of that song? Not me, it is you. Yes. And yes, I didn't know there was a cattle, there was a farm, I don't know. But I know of 2 tower buildings. I know of Kemusa. Kemusa, the owner of Kemusa, of the land title of Kemusa. And if he says he's not the owner, we have already told this EACC. For us, we watch whistleblower. Yeah. Whistle. We have been a whistleblower for ICC, against ICC. Whistle. I have blown a whistle. I told EACC, investigate who is the owner of that big place. Now you have brought me something called kato. Why don't you refuse eating this meat? Why is it that Mijiwe, every time I meet him, say, let's meet at Nyama Choma? Are we all fish? Miriam, you don't eat meat, do you?
I do eat meat.
Yeah, do you know it's stolen?
I didn't know that. I'm just learning now.
We are learning slowly. Because surely Argentina cannot have that type of meat to deliver. I agree with the professor. One farmer in Argentina cannot deliver daily that type of meat. You need about 5 farmers to meet the demands of the Kenyans. So we have been thieves. We have been eating. No wonder this thing comes, it in the stomach. As soon as you eat, it rotates. We are eating stolen goods.
Doctor, the stomach rotates.
Yes, we are accomplices, Mr. Mijiwe, myself, with all our beautiful faces. We are an accomplices.
We are complacent. We are conduits.
Karen, let me hear your voice. Maybe you are very fine in Malindi. Do you also participate in this meat eating process? The factory they are talking about, the farm, the ranch they are talking about, is somewhere where you are. Are you aware of it? Karen is fearing.
No, I'm back. I'm back.
Yes.
Can you hear? Whether being part of it, I'm not sure, because I'm allergic to red meat, so I take white meat.
Yeah, because you are near the sea. Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know you people have been taking meat that, have been, I'm sorry.
No, today is when we have found out, Karen, we have just found out that why the price of meat is so low. I have just been given the name of the manager of the warehouse manager. Is called Samuel Okanda. Mr. Samuel Okanda supplies more details of how these stolen cows arrive on the train, a government train, and who receives this meat at the Dagoretti Center. Wesonga, you are an investigative journalist wearing all hats in this country.
Yes.
Who is this who receives the stolen cows which have killed the people of Pokot? What wamekufa Pokot? Yes. And the cows reach Nairobi.
Yes.
At 2 a.m. They disembark at the train. They are taken to slaughterhouse. Wewe unaangalia. You are a journalist. You are supposed to write a story. Wetuambie leo, how shall we fight corruption?
And of course, Major has brought in a very quintessential pointers. And in biology, we used to have what we call the food chain, where they say the arrow pointed to the eater. So we can use reverse engineering to go back and center of this problem that we are having. And of course, the center is always the one particular point where...
Even one cow in Kenya, please don't reverse on me. I am called Museveni cows. I'm called Museveni cow. So I don't reverse on me. I'm not eatable. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are just trying to seek the axis where all this evil is emanating from. And of course, our viewers, wherever they are, and the panel can be able now to unfathom this riddle that has been the bone of contention from the cattle rustling, from the KEMSA, from the tower, the Kempinski. So they can be able to tell now who is at the center of all these corruption scandals. And of course, we are never wrong when you're speaking about corruption in this country. It has always come out at the end of the day that one particular individual has a monopoly over this, Dr. Masanga.
There are 13 days left for the security expert
to leave.
Called Mijiwe. Can you be offered a ticket to go to Rome to arrest this guy who took our money in Emerald and the Cameroon?
I saw.
I will sponsor the ticket.
Yes, I will. Of course, we work with you. I know the networks, the hotel networks, and any other networks we could have. Even if we don't arrest him,
I know where he lives. Can we go and arrest him?
Yeah.
As people's right, as citizens of the world.
If we don't arrest him, we put a pin on his back so that anywhere he goes, the world can see where the corrupt Kimwarel, Arol, Dam money eater is moving to. So yes, give me the ticket. Even tomorrow morning, I'll be on the plane.
Okay, we talk after this.
Thank you.
We talk after this because it's a very serious matter.
We always say we are not taking prisoners, but on this show, we are taking prisoners. Miriam?
Thank you very much. This money of Kemaror and Emerald has pained me so much that it seems the case is gone. The Minister of Finance, we might never see him in the court again. So surely you people, we have lost that money like that. Has Kenya just lost the money?
Yes.
Doesn't it pain you people? Can't you feel for your country?
And Dr. Matsanga, it's very funny that Kenyans are complaining more about the KEMSA scandal when you put side by side with the Aror and Kumaror dam scandal. It's just a drop in the ocean. So I think before we even come to KEMSA, we should first of all close the books of accounts with whatever happens in Aror and Kumaror scandals, because that was massive amount of money to be just ignored by the population of this country.
So what do we do now that we are losing one of our security experts going for further studies to enhance his tactics of eating more meat without knowing where the meat is coming from? Then now, we by the time he comes 1 year gone, it will be campaign time. People would have forgotten about Kemeror and Emerald. In summary, we summarize this. Chronicles of corruption in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen and the viewers, you have been listening to this show, Frontline Security. I just want to talk in a sober mood that indeed President Uhuru Kenyatta has tried. He's the first president in Kenyan history to fight corruption, at least to injure some people corruptly, who have corrupted themselves, who have corruptly taken money, who have destroyed the economy of this country. Ladies and gentlemen on the panel, submissions have been very many. The buck stops at the government. No, Miriam debunked it. He said the buck stops at all of us. We all take part. When police arrests you on Naivasha Road, stops your car and says there's no insurance, you tell him tuangaliane mbele or nyuma, or to let's step aside. Why do you step aside with the police? Why don't you simply tell him, let's go to court? I will pay the fine. It goes to pay other people. Why is it then that we have lost the moral compass of our corruption? The number of people who have been engaged in corruption seem to be huge on paper in newspapers, but very small on conviction. We have convicted very few people. One of the convictions is Waruke, served as an example, a hard hitter. I hope on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, we shall also get Sudi convicted because the files are ready. I want to thank the DPP for making sure that the evidence, when they come for mention, is going to say we are ready to start the case. The purpose is not to leave this man to go to the microphone again. That is something that has impressed me now. I'm even happy. People were running the whole night. Some of them got an accident. That they're trying to save Sudi with academic papers that were forged and forged. Look at that. Then you also go and say you know the English. Can Sudi even pronounce the English he writes on Twitter? Yeah, Jamen. So let's stick to this subject, Miriam, as finally we call it a day. Our engineer, we ask you to be with us next week again on your final points, party points, the expert. But remember where you are going, there is Katusha men. The men are called Katusha men.
Yeah.
They don't tell lies. They Katusha you. So next time, the points that you have raised here, the whole of you plus Karanja, who is from Nanyuki. Karanja, you are still there.
I'm still here.
You have raised very key points.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, our repertoire, is that correct word, Songa?
Yes, correct.
Repertoire. The lady there in Malindi has taken down all the points that we have made. The teacher. The other time, Mr. Biggie wanted to know the profession, we have now told you. A teacher teaching, so teaching is not starting yet. But I want to thank all of you. There are 3 things that you have raised. I will give each of you and the guest who came in late 2 minutes, but each of you 1 minute to send us home, starting with Karanja, 1 minute exactly. And if you see me interrupting you, you know it is over. We want to get discipline over this machine. And that is what Miriam should follow. If he sees me talking too much, press the button.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And I want to say this. Corruption is a bad thing. Corruption must be fought by all you and the government of the day and all of us as leaders. We must ensure that corruption, the war on corruption is won. We must make sure that we see values of integrity, honesty, and we take the place of leadership, leaders who have the right qualities. And I would like to say something on what Tonga was saying about the cattle restaurants and the ranch. And we would like a big part like Africa, because there's a big television. You come here in Laikipia County, we have a land. That is where we have this type of the goat. The goat, we have goat about in big number. You should come here and you get something, because we have another big ranch around here that we have cattle. Maybe it's part of the process. That is where the people of Laikipia West, they cannot keep even a sheep, because it will have the rustlers we can't collect. Therefore, corruption is bad, and we must kill it by all means. And that is the only way to have a successful nation and a country that we develop, and our generations that will come after us will see and we have a country to call home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your minute almost past 1 second. Let me come to Daniel. I know you want to leave.
Yes, thank you.
That's now.
Thank you, Dr. Matsanga. And of course, we have a very, very great discussion. And it has come out clearly that for the fight against corruption to get gusto and the momentum in this country, we have to be truthful to ourselves. We have to bridge the moral vacuum that exists in our citizenry. And as well, we have to speak out boldly and call those who are corrupt by name, as we are doing on this show. And I believe together with the effort that the government has put in place, we shall be able to conquer the war against these retrogressive practice in our country. Thank you.
Is corruption hurtling Kenya to a crisis of despondency? Yes or no?
Absolutely, Dr. Matsanga. It has brought us a lot of problems economically, politically, and even socially. I agree.
It could bring us to a crisis. Thank you. Prof, you are the man, not Prof, let me come to the lady. You are the giant who sends us home towards Jerusalem before this man goes to Haifa. Let's get this very clear. Lady from Marindi, you are our rapporteur. Rapporteur. Is it a French word, Miriam? I don't know. Rapporteur.
Rapporteur, yeah.
I am very bad at those things that end with T-E-R. I don't like them. So, let me hear from you, Karen from Marindi. 1 minute.
It's okay. I'll bring across the effect.
Yes.
All that, and selecting or picking leaders of integrity. And apart from that, thank you very much for the facts you gave us, all of you. Thank you.
We did not hear that other thing, the thing clicked.
Oh, that thing was on the Chronicles of Corruption. We've of the gold mining company in Rift Valley, and the other issue on the tower in Westlands in Nairobi. Yes, and this other issue of KEMSA and cattle rustling and all of that. That was interesting, and thank you very much for the details.
Oh, thank you. There you are. We have touched it. You are the man who brought the meat commission. Thank you very much. Now I come to giant sir, Prof. Soften our souls towards Jerusalem.
Thank you, Dr. Masanga. This was a great discussion, and we hope we have educated the people of Kenya. They should hate corruption. And what all the resources God created is enough for all of us. All the taxes for the people of Kenya are enough for us to give us services. A farmer decided one day to block the river so that he can make use of the water himself. The animals started going upstream to find out what has happened because they were not getting water, the snakes and everybody else. When they found that farmer, they struck him dead. Kenyans should start now looking for where their money is going and smoke that person who is taking their money. We should stop now the game of blaming the president. There is nothing the president can do. The buck stops at us. Let us arrest people and take to him and action to be taken. And we can build our country. We can, everybody will admire our country. Let us not allow the taxes for the people of Kenya to go for personal use, Dr. Masanga.
Well, there you are. Now, we come parting short. You have 2 minutes. The expert himself, the man who can tell us which way to go. And thank you very much. As you go, we wish you good luck in Tel Aviv. I was in Tel Aviv in 1982. I trained for 2 weeks on tactics of interception. Let me remove my glasses so that, don't you see my face is bubbly? Interception. Okay? Yes, kuchukua. well trained by Dr. Milton Obote. May his soul rest in peace. So, Wesonga chunga garubindi yako, I'll intercept. I can tell a man who likes me or a woman who is going to cheat me. While I'm sleeping, I can even watch my wallet from very far. That's what I did to one woman sometime who stole my wallet.
Daudi.
So stole it from his bag, her bag. So when she came to ask for money for a taxi, I said, look for your wallet and get some money.
Daudi.
You don't die with people. Don't fight people. You use the brain to fight. That is what an Israeli tells you. The Israeli will tell you, don't fight anyhow. Have you seen my Facebook close? I don't insult people. I intercept your brain and finish you by answering. The Songa is my witness. This morning, before you come in, I wrote 80 points of categories of people in this country. I swear I've intercepted the analysis. If I'm wrong, I'll take off this shirt and walk naked. If this is not going to disrupt this country, those categories, Professor, out of that, you have at least 2 or 3 that you can confirm. Does it surprise you that Harvey is the man filing cases against Uhuru Kenyatta? Every case is Harvey the only lawyer in the world, a Congolese national who came in the mother's stomach as became a wonder. And no expert of this nature can unravel the date he arrived with the mother in the room. Misambijiwe.
I thank you, Dr. Matanga, very much indeed for having me today and all the time we've been here. And by the way, even though I'm going to school, I'm not going away because internet has become our home. So
we are missing you.
Yeah, I know. We'll be doing this show. We'll only miss our frequent nyamachomas and.
Is it possible to inherit? Let me ask you, is it possible to inherit everything while you are away?
I'll show you the limits.
Can I
know where that is going, especially when you choose the right Meru. Anyway, that is great.
Whatever is available in Meru.
Cows.
So Matanga, you're gonna say something here. Karen, don't listen to him at all. It was nice, being here with Sean Wesonga, with the Professor Jared, and our sister Karen and Miriam, and Dr. Matanga. I mean, your wisdom is unmatched, and I look forward to your books. Let me go finish this master so I can come. You guide me, or we write books together. It's time now we begin to live a commonwealth for our people behind in books, because sooner than later our sunset has approached. I was telling people I've hit my 40 and I think I'm at my half. So if I live another 40, believe me, I'll be declining in strength. I may get richer and wiser, but strength, body-wise, I'll be getting weaker. So I need to leave treasure in books. And so that's why I'm going to school to get a little knowledge. However, let me say, one of the things that President Kenyatta has distinguished himself in is using the military to build this country. Of course, that is the other side of the danger of the military, running Basak. However, our Kenyan military has been known to be very, very disciplined. And President Kenyatta has, he has, of course, recently instituted the NMS, Nairobi Metropolitan, and a Major General. And previously, we saw him, deploy military and intelligence officers in the police, in the anti-corruption, in the DPP's office. And so I personally believe that the military is one of the most underutilized institution in our country. Apart from fighting in Somalia against Al-Shabaab, which just began in 2011, hitherto, prior to 2011, the military was the best trained, best equipped, best educated, but just staying in the barracks. So it's time we ask those Kenyans who are our sons and daughters in the military to serve this country. And so handing over the Kenya Meat Commission to the Kenya Defense Forces is strategic, is an idea whose time has come. Some people are saying, what does the military know in managing state corporations? I'm refusing to use the F word on them to tell them to shut up for saying that, because the military has institutions. There are schools. We have the Kenya Defense College. We have the National Defense College. We have the Defense Staff College, GSC. All these are institutions run by the military. We have the president's plane managed, and all the executive planes. Sorry, I had 2 minutes. Managed by the military. And finally, the military has the Kenya Ordnance Factory Corporation, which produces bullets and other wartime merchandise that we need. All these are under the military. Why would someone say the military cannot run the Kenya Meat Commission? That's insulting our own sons. And by the way, as I closed, the military recruits the most young, the most strong, the most well capable young men to serve them. So these are not your average Kenyans. These are the best of the best. Let them serve their country in the capacity that the commander in chief will say. Let them serve. Let them serve. I dropped the mic.
Doctor. All right, a doctor seems to be not there. Doctor, can you hear me? All right, very well. So we've been looking at how corruption can lead to a state of despondency here in the country, and a few issues have come out. I think that Professor Nyari there earlier on mentioned that reminded us that between when NAC government came into power, there seems to be a zeal to fight corruption. So we saw those, boards being written in every government office. This area is a corruption-free zone. We see they're still there. I think the NAC government came into that. And at that point, Kenyans felt they were part of the process. And then as years went by, I think, I don't know what happened. So Kenyans, majority of us became a bit more complacent in accepting that corruption is indeed a way of life in this country and is part of us and is part of our culture. So now, therefore, how can we solve this problem? How can we make sure that Kenyans understand the impact of corruption in our country? Because it's costing us a lot in terms of the services you're supposed to be getting in our hospitals, in our schools, and all these very important things that directly affect the lives of Kenyans. So I think one of the key things there that now perhaps the government, as much as we know, a lot of people are complaining, oh, this government, corruption has gone up. But we have to realize as Kenyans that we have a part to play should we really win this war against corruption. So how do we do that? Perhaps we should let Kenyans also be part of this process and own this process and understand that corruption is not about the CSS and all these institutions that are now being mentioned, but we also contribute and we have nurtured this very bad culture of corruption in our society. So we can and should be part of the process. So how do we do that? The government perhaps should now start carrying out civic education to create awareness so that Kenyans understand that unless all of us have a concerted effort in fighting corruption, so we might not really be able to win this war. So we all have to be part of the process. Kenyans must own this process and must be made to feel that they're part of this process and they have a say and also, act in accordance. So let's not leave anybody behind. I think I said that during the COVID-19. I think also on the war against corruption, it's a very important thing. It's crucial. It's at the core of what is wrong with us in this country. So I think if all Kenyans can be made to feel part of the process and part of the solution, so perhaps we might see better days in the future. But also, of course, the way the government has been divided in the fight against corruption. We see President Uhuru Kenyatta saying one thing, and he really means business, and he's on the forefront when it comes to the fight against corruption. And we also see the Deputy President, also the approach he takes, in the fight against corruption. So this division and how they've parted ways and the approach when it comes to corruption, I think has given a way and a room there so that corruption has really thrived in this country, because we find every corruption that is now being mentioned, and, there's a name that is being dropped that is part of high level, government there. So I think the division and the two ways in which the government the president approach and the vice president there in the fight against corruption, I think has given a leeway for corruption to continue to thrive. And now you wake up every morning and we have all these headlines on corruption, and high government officials there are involved. So I think the government needs to be very decisive. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I know you've really made it very clear on what you want and how you want to fight corruption. But this double speak, because he's saying this and then his deputy, comes and just, so they're not speaking in the same voice when it comes to the war against corruption. So I think that has led to the state of despondency. So Kenyans are saying, okay, if President Uhuru Kenyatta this is what he's doing, and his vice, this is what he's doing, they're supposed to be speaking and thinking and sync when it comes to the war against corruption, and that has not been the case. So that has led to Kenyans believing, perhaps, with all these wrangles and all this back and forth and counter accusations and accusations, perhaps, nothing much is being done. But for sure, a lot has been done, and Kenyans are looking to see that we shall successfully fight this war on corruption. But I think the bottom line is all of us should be involved there. Doctor, we were waiting for you, but I'm done.
Yes, you can't, it is Bijiwe who sent this Meru spirit to tell, because I was telling him something which is very strong. It took off my computer completely. I've just brought it back. Miriam, while doing that, I used another emergency supply. I was listening to you. Your summary is excellent. I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you. This show has been marvelous, and especially when the professor and Mr. Bijiwe, when you joined us, it went higher. People have listened. People are calling me on my other phone, saying that those are the topics we should discuss them casually, but they make a meaning to the normal, ordinary mwananchi, to the citizens of Kenya. We want to thank Ina Hassan that we are not fighting corruption. We thank you for your contribution on this platform. We are pointing out areas where corruption is. We shall next week name the achievements as far as corruption is concerned, how far President Uhuru Kenyatta has been able to fight corruption. We shall tell you how many things he has fought, how many people, how much money has been recovered. I will be able to read it to you probably tomorrow. Actually tomorrow, I have the data. But for now, we call upon people not to dismember their state. Don't hurtle this nation towards despondence. Don't blame the president, because he's not the only one to fight corruption. All of us have to fight corruption by boycotting that meat that we eat and ask questions why the meat is cheap in Zagreb or other places and it is not cheap in Tel Aviv or London or New York, where the meat is well organized. What is the problem? We steal this meat. I think God should bring me the spirit to start preaching now. I think I have it. I have it. There is someone eating meat which is stolen and does not say why the meat is, where it comes from. It's very wrong. Yet people in Turkana have died. There are people who die and they are actually buried. You get the point? They are buried without us knowing. And then the meat arrives here, we hammer it. Hammer, eat. Leta mbuzi, mguu mzima. No. Time has come for us to question how this meat arrives in Nairobi. Time has come to question who are these thieves. And we ask the president to surrender this list to us. Journalists, we spread the gospel. We mention how much they took. Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you, Baba. Mzee, utarudi hapa tena siku ya Wednesday.
Yes, sir. I'm at your service.
Tuesday. Ufanye show mzuri na sisi.
Yes, sir.
So that before you go to Tel Aviv, to touch the place where Jesus failed, where Jesus entered Jerusalem alone on a horse, on a donkey. I want you to stand there at that position and take a picture and send it to me. Thank you very much, all of you. God bless you. Go and have your lunch. Enjoy your lunch. Those who have the money for lunch, who don't have like us, we shall stay where we are. We are on diet.
Good luck with the diet. Good.
Now you
good luck.
She will never believe in anything I say.
Retired General, good luck with your studies there in Israel. All the best.
Thank you. I know you'll be coming. We do a show from there, right?
Absolutely. I'm actually planning to visit
No,
Israel
you take,
in 2 years.
You take her.
Not now.
Karen. I and Karen.
I'm actually, I've been planning a vacation to Israel, so who knows? Bye-bye.
So now you have refused my Qatar.
Guess who's coming to Tel Aviv?
Miriam, Qatar.
You go to...
Miriam,
Yes.
please, Qatar.
Nasi Doctor Siulisema Qatar is not a place to go.
No, that's the best
No.
competitor take.
Doctor, you said
Qatar.
Qatar, Dubai are not places for people to visit. So why do you want me to go to Qatar now?
Thank you, ma'am.
You told me that I should buy a ticket for you to Qatar.
For the World Cup.
For the World Cup.
Corona might have changed everything, but you know what? Bye-bye for
Oh, you
now.
have changed it.
Corona. Corona.
That is why I remain like a this.
Corona has
Here
changed.
women change every minute.
No.
Song, I don't blame you now.
Listen. That was
Yes.
a family vacation, so I don't know where that is coming from, but bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.